Hello, my dear students. This side Komal Gamlani Santani here welcomes you all in the ongoing wonderful series on PGCET 2024 MCA that you are watching exclusively live on Dhruvika Academy's YouTube channel. So, guys, I hope that you have watched yesterday's session and you have downloaded our app from the Play Store and also got yourself connected to our community. So, let me just give a brief idea information about the yesterday session. In the previous session, guys, we understood the entire syllabus exam pattern that you are going to face in the exam, and along with that, guys, I gave you all the information, needed information regarding the Samrat PGCET batch, right? All the facilities, offers, benefits that first 100 admitted students can get. So what are you waiting for, guys? Get yourself quickly registered and avail all the benefits. What benefits? You'll get live classes, and even if you miss the classes, you'll get the recordings. Then most important, the validity of this enrollment will be till September. That is, you'll automatically get added to the upcoming batches and get all the updates. Along with that, you're going to get 50 mock tests to practice and ace the exam. So guys, quickly get yourself registered. So as I announced yesterday, from today we are going to start 1000 MCQ series of mathematics, right? So let's begin our today's session. So guys, what we are going to do actually in this MCQ series, I'll be taking randomly some short concepts. We'll be telling the concepts, basic concepts, the logical aspects of those concepts, and then we'll be practicing the related questions. Okay, so today I have brought the concept of simple interest and compound interest. Yes, this is something, a specialized application of percentage. Yes, you heard it right. Percentage specialized application. It is entirely based on the concepts of percentage, short tricks of percentage that I'll be sharing with you while solving the questions. For the detailed explanation part, you need to join the batches where you'll get all the tricks related to the percentage, everything. So here I'm first going to introduce the concept of SI and CI in short, and then we are going to practice questions, and along with the questions I'll be sharing some tricks with you. So make sure that you attend the entire session and solve the questions along with me, because all these questions are completely exam oriented questions. You are going to find similar questions of this pattern in your exam. Okay, so let's quickly begin our today's session. So guys, what is simple interest and compound interest? What you remember from your childhood? Yes, suppose you deposit some amount in a particular bank. What we call it? We call it principal. You deposit a particular amount or you borrow particular amount, initial amount, that we call it as principal. So be it investment, be it borrowing, we call it as principal. Then for the duration you have deposited or borrowed, we call it as time. And the rate at which you earn from that principal or you pay on that principal, that is the rate of interest. All right, so in the childhood we are already familiar with the two concepts, simple interest and compound interest. I'll give you a brief idea. What is simple interest, what is compound interest, and what is the difference between these two concepts? See, simple interest, as the name suggests, it's very simple to calculate. Why simple? Because the interest that you calculate is calculated on the same principle that you invest or you borrow. That is, the principal is going to remain the same throughout the duration. So as the interest, yes, you heard it right. Since the principal is going to remain the same, interest for each year will also be the same. Okay, so I have taken one example. Suppose you deposit 1000 rupees in one bank number 1, where you get interest at the rate of 10% per annum, and you deposit this amount for 3 years. Now how is interest calculated? On the initial principal, that is 1000. You will get interest at the rate 10% on the initial principal every year. So what is the 10% of 1000? That is 100. So in the year 1 you are getting 100, in the year 2 also 100, and year 3 also 100. So all in all, what you got 300 rupees as an interest. Now the fourth terminology that comes here is amount. What is amount? The principal plus the interest earned or paid together, we call it as amount. So what will be the amount in this case? That would be 1000 plus 300, that is 1300. So this is the concept of simple interest. Very simple to understand because the principal is going to be same throughout the duration. Okay, now talking about the concept of compound interest. Now what happens in compound interest? The principal here keeps on changing. The principal here, again I repeat, it keeps on changing, and therefore the interest for each year varies. Why this happens? See, understand what happens. For the first year, the principal that you deposit, that will act as a base on which we will calculate interest. Now what happens in the second year? You will get interest on the initial principal, yes. Along with that, you will get interest on the interest that you earned in the previous year. Are you getting that? See, same amount I deposited 1000 in bank number 2, right? At same rate of interest for same time period. Now what happens in the first year? I'll get same interest, that is 100, as I was getting in case of simple interest. Now what happened in second year? See, this 100 is the interest that I earned on the initial principal, right? Now what is this 10? This 10 is the interest that I earned on the interest that I earned in the first year. So because of the introduction of the concept of interest on interest, the concept of CI varies from SI. Alright, so what happened in year 2? I got rupees 100 as interest on the principal and rupees 10 as interest on the interest that I earned in the year 100. Okay, so this 10 is related to this 100. Okay, now talking about year 3, this 100 is again related to the initial principal. Now this 10 is related to the 100 that I earned in year 1. This 10 is related to the 100 that I earned in year 2, and this 1 is related to the 10 that I earned in year 2. So because of the arrival of the concept of interest on interest, you earned more interest in comparison to the simple interest. So in this case, you earned the interest of rupees 331, whereas you were earning 300 in case of simple interest. So what will be the amount here, guys? What will be the amount? You invested 1000 and you earn 331, so amount will be 1331 here. So I hope I'm clear with the concept of SI and CI. You must know the concept before you remember or learn the formulas. Alright, so this is the basic difference between SI and CI. SI principle remains same, CI principle changes because of the introduction of the concept of interest on interest. We not only earn interest on the principal, we earn interest on the interest that we keep on earning. Alright, so this is the concept of SI and CI. Now coming up to the formulas of SI and CI. Now see, first of all, how to calculate simple interest. Now this formula, this is the formula which is in our blood. Yes, since childhood our teacher used to ask to mug up this formula, P into R into T upon 100. Yes, so what are we actually doing? We are multiplying the rate of interest to the principal, and whatever you earn in 1 year multiplied by the number of years, you keep that amount, you invest that amount. So the formula is P into R, that is rate of interest, into T upon 100 for simple interest. Now talking about the amount, see, this is the basic formula that I told you. Now the basic concept, what is the amount? The principal plus the interest forms amount. Even you can calculate amount in another way. How? What we need to do, we just need to substitute this interest value in this formula and you'll get the formula P into 1 plus RT. This is the direct formula to calculate. What we did, instead of interest, I'll just put P into R into T upon 100 and here principal. Now this P and P is common, P taken outside, and the formula became 1 plus RT. ठीक है, 1 plus RT. All right. So am I clear? So how the formula of amount was derived. Okay guys. So let's proceed further regarding the formula of compound interest. So the formula of compound interest is nothing but a specialized application of percentage. What are we actually doing? We are actually, the principal is getting added up by the interest that we are earning, right? What happens? See, I'll give you one example. Suppose the principal is 100 and rate of interest is 10%. So what happens in the first year? The principal is calculated at 100. Okay, the principal is calculated at 100, the interest is calculated at 100. How? 10%. 10% of 100. Now after you earn the interest, what will be the amount? You invested 100, you got 10% as interest. So what will be the amount? It will actually be 110% of the initial amount, right? Initial principal. So the amount at the end of first year will be 110% of the initial principal, right? Okay. Now this amount will act as a principal for the second year. So now again in the second year you will earn interest at this principal at 10%. So amount at the end of second year, would be again 110% of this, and this will keep on following. Are you getting that? So if I break this equation, I'll get the formula like this. This 100 was my principal. 110%, what was that? 1 plus R raised to the power n, number of years. Are you getting that? I hope you got this. What happened? The amount at the end of first year acted as a principal for the second year. Okay, so how you derived at the amount at the end of first year? 100 into 110%, that acted as an amount. Then on that you will again earn interest at the rate 10%. So the amount will become again 110% of the initial one, that is at the end of year 1. So this way the formula is derived of the amount. So this is basically the formula of amount. Now if you want to calculate interest, directly interest, one way is subtract principal from the amount, you will get compound interest in this scenario. Other way is, if you want a direct formula, how you will do it? Amount is equal to, just substitute the values, nothing else. See, okay. So the direct way to calculate compound interest is, take P common, minus 1. So this is the direct way to calculate the compound interest. What I did, I just substituted the value of A in this formula to find out the compound interest formula directly. Okay, so we have following formulas in case of compound interest. How can you calculate compound interest directly? This is the formula which I derived now. Then how can you calculate amount? This is the direct formula which I told you, the derivation, and this is the basic formula that you can use either in SI, either in CI. Okay, so let's do some questions on this concept and you'll understand in a better way. Okay, we'll do some questions and then we'll understand another concept. Yeah, I hope the screen is clear and everything is clear. Okay, so the first question in front of you. See, while doing the question, I'll be sharing some tricks related to the percentage. Okay, we'll also try to use elimination approach in some questions so that we could do it faster. Okay, so the first question of today's session, it says simple interest is 0.125 times of P at 10% per annum, find time. So first of all, since we have got the equation of SI, right? We have got the equation of SI in the question. We'll use the formula of SI. So what's the formula of SI, guys? P into R into T upon 100, right? So SI is 0.125p. So we'll write here 0.125p. P is unknown. R is 10% and time we need to find. It's very simple. P से P cancel and 10 got multiplied by 0.125. It's nothing but 1.25 years. That's option A. Alright, so I hope the question is pretty clear. Now coming to the next question. Read the question very carefully. It's going to help you a lot to crack. Reading carefully is the key point while solving the questions, okay? So what the question says, what sum of money will produce rupees 40 to 800 as an interest? What sum of money will produce? So what are they actually asking you? What are they actually asking you? They are actually asking you to find principal. What sum of money will produce rupees 40 to 800 as an interest? So this is interest, right? In 3 years, 3 months at 2.5% per annum simple interest. Okay. See, first of all, time 3 years, 3 months. 3 by 12. So this will be 13 by 4. I hope I'm clear till this point. Time is 13 by 4. Now talking about the rate of interest. 2.5% per annum. See, if you are fine with decimal, no issues. But I would suggest you to remember some fractions of the percentages. See, I'm talking about some very basic fractions. See, it's very easy. 10%. How do you write it in fraction form? It's 1 by 10. Okay. Then, how do you write 100% in the fractional form? It's definitely 1. 100% is always equal to 1. Then, 50%. 0.5, we call it as 1 by 2. Right. Now, talking about 75%. 75% is nothing but 3 by 4. Okay. Now, see. 10%. We write 10% as 1 by 10. Now, can you tell me what will be 5%? What will be 5%? 5% will be half of 10%. So, if 10% is 1 by 10, what will be 5%? 1 by 10 divided by 2. That will eventually give you what? 1 by 20. So, this way you need to remember these percentage in fractional form. This will help you to solve the questions of CI and SI very quickly. Okay, so 5% it's 1 by 20. Now talking about 25%. 25% we call it as 1 by 4 in the fractional form. How are we writing it as 1 by 4? It's nothing, just you need to expand 25% as 25 upon 100 and it's 1 by 4 this way. So you need to remember these some fractions. Okay, so can you tell me what will be the half of 25%? Half of 25% is 12.5%, right? So if 25% is 1 by 4, 12.5% will be 1 by 8. So this way you need to remember some fractions. Okay, so 5% is 1 by 20. Now 2.5% is half of 5%. So it will be definitely how much? 1 by 40. Agree? Agree, guys? Okay. So in the previous question you have been given the rate as 2.5%. So you can directly write it as 1 by 40 if you remember the fraction. If you remember the fraction, right? So 2.5% I'll write it as 1 by 40. So that will help me solve question very quickly. See, I'll be sharing some tricks with you. So definitely I'll be taking more time than you to solve. So you need to bear the patience. Okay, bear with patience. So you need to find the principal. You have the interest 40 to 800. Now principal we need to find. Time and rate. Rate is 1 by 40 and time is 13 by 4. See, simply 40 to 800 multiplied by 16 we'll do. Just a second. 428 multiplied by 16. 6848, and then you have 3 zeros after that, and then you have to divide it by 13. Now seeing 13, it just gives like itna bada division. No need not to do that much big division, because now we are going to use the option approach here. See, 6848000, when you will divide it by 30, the first digit in the quotient, it will be 5, and when you will find in the options, it's nothing but option B. There is no other option where 5 is at the first place, right? So directly you will able to find out the answer is option B. So this tricks little bit you need to use. You will get well versed to this once you practice many questions. Okay, so I hope this is clear in your mind how to proceed further, how to solve the questions quickly. Small tricks I'll be sharing with you. Now come to the next question. On what sum will the compound interest at 5% per annum for 2 years compounded annually be rupees 3,280? Now what is this compounded annually? What does this term means? Compounded annually means the event of changing principal is taking place once in a year. Okay, the event of changing the principal. How is principal changing? In the second year, the amount at the end of first year acts as the principal, right? In the beginning of the second year, the principal will be the amount at the end of first year. Now if this event of changing the principal takes place once in a year, we call it as compounded annually. Okay, if this event takes place semi-annually, we call it as compounded half yearly or semi-annually. Now this change, that is compounding, is taking place 2 times in a year, that is principal is going to change 2 times in a year. So this is going to have effect on your formula. What effect it is going to have? See, the formula, I'll take the example of the formula of amount. We had the formula P into 1 plus R upon 100 raised to the power n. This was the formula, right? P into 1 plus R upon 100 raised to the power n. What will happen if you compound it twice in the year? The rate will get divided by 2 and power will get multiplied by 2. Okay, so if I generalize it, I write the formula as like this. See, I give the K effect in the formula. Amount is equal to P into 1 plus R upon 100. I'll write just R divided by K raised to the power nk. Okay, so what is K? Number of times compounding taking place in a year. Okay, so if it's annual, K will be 1, right? If it is semi-annual, the value of K will be 2, right? If it is quarterly means every 3 months. Quarter is a period of 3 months. So if every 3 months principal is going to change, how many times compounding will be done? It will be done 4 times, right? And if compounding is done monthly, that means every month the principal is changing, so the K value will be 12. And if it's daily, then it would be 365. Don't worry, you won't be asked about daily one, it's just for the information. Okay, so number of times compounding taking place in a year, that is K. So if it is taking place twice, thrice, so we need to give that effect. What effect? Rate will get divided by K and the n will get multiplied by K. So this you need to remember, this is very important. Okay, now coming back to the question, on what sum will the compound interest at 5%? Yes, you remember, what do we write 5% in the fractional form? That is 1 by 20. Okay, for 2 years compounded annually be rupees 3280. So this you have been directly given as CI, so we'll use the direct formula of CI. Okay, So 3280 is equal to, principal we need to find 1 plus, yes, 5%. We'll write it as 1 by 20 raised to the power 2 and then minus 1, right? So 3280, 21 upon 20 square minus 1. So guys, you need to remember at least squares till 30. That is something mandatory. You need to remember the tables till 20 and you need to remember the squares till 30 at least, and then cubes at least till 10 you should remember. Okay, so 3280, 21 square, it's 441. We'll take the LCM. 441 minus 400, that will give you 41. So P into 41 upon 400, right? So simply P is equal to 3280 into 4000 divided by 41. So just observe the equation very carefully. 41, 8 fours are 32. It's 3 to 8. So 41, it will definitely be 328. So 80 into 4, that will give you 32,000. That will give you 32,000. It's not 4,000, it's actually 400. Okay, so 80 into 4, 32,000 would be your principal. So I hope you are getting the small tricks. You need to observe the digits very carefully, because something would be in the equation that will ultimately get cancelled. Very rarely you will find something in the decimal. Okay, now coming to the next question. This is a very important question. Focus. The ratio of principal and the compound interest value for 3 years compounded annually is 216 is to 127. The rate of interest is, see what they have given. They have given the ratio of principal and compound interest. So principal upon CI for 3 years they have given. So principal upon, what is the formula of CI guys? It's nothing but P into 1 plus R upon 100. Power would be 3 minus 1. So P and P would be cancelled. This is equal to how much? 216 and 127. So I can write it like this. 127 upon 216 is equal to 1 plus R upon 100 raised to the power 3 minus 1. Now this minus 1 will get to RHS and it will get added. So 127 plus 216 upon 216, that's equal to 1 plus R upon 100 raised to the power 3. Now this 127 and 216, this is nothing but 343 upon 216. Now if you remember the cubes, you will automatically understand. If you want to find R, you need to remove this power cube, and when power will get transferred to RHS, it will get converted into root. So this is cube, in the RHS it will be cube root. So 1 plus R upon 100 is equal to 343 divided by 216 cube root. So now if you remember the cubes, you will understand 343 is the cube of 7. So cube root will be 7 and 216's cube root, it would be 6. So 1 plus R upon 100 is equal to 7 by 6. So R upon 100 would be equal to 1 by 6. Now 1 by 6 in the decimal form is equal to how much? 0.166. So as I told you in the beginning only, this is something a specialized application of percentage. So when we'll be starting the batch, no, we'll first take some very important properties related to percentage. Then we will study the chapters related to percentage like profit and loss, compound interest, discount, everything. Okay. Now moving to the next question guys. Find the compound interest if an amount of rupees 50,000 is deposited in a bank for 1 year at the rate of 8% per annum compounded semi-annually. See what are they saying? Find the compound interest, that is you have to find CI. If an amount of rupees 50,000 is deposited, see don't get bluffed by this word amount. It is written amount, but it is not actually the amount terminology. Read the entire sentence. If an amount of rupees 50,000 is deposited, so basically it is nothing but the principal. It is nothing but the principal, right? in a bank for 1 year at the rate of 8%, compounded semi-annually. See, few minutes back we understood this concept semi-annually. That means you need to divide the rate by 2 and multiply the n by 2. So principal is 50,000, rate 8% will get divided by 2, that will become 4%. And yes, 4% is equal to how much? Any idea? 4% is equal to how much? See, if you don't remember, just divide it. You will understand. Okay. So we'll do all the fractions, we'll do in the batch, don't worry. So 4% is equal to 1 by 25. Raised to the power, n was 1, right? So it will get multiplied by 2, then minus 1. Okay. So you need to find compound interest. That's why I've used the direct formula of compound interest. So 50,000 into 26 upon 25 raised to the power 2. So square of 26 is 676 and square of 25 is 625. It will get subtracted. So 50,000 into 51 upon 625. So you can cancel it by the table of 25. Yeah, 51 into 80. Yes, so somewhat you will get the figure like 4080. Okay. Okay. Yes. Now let's proceed further. This is again a very important question, guys. Certain sum amounts to rupees 15,748 in 3 years at simple interest at R% per annum. Okay, we do not know the principal. Principal is something we can write like this, the scenario. Principal we don't know, then time is 3 years, rate also we don't know, but we know the amount. Okay, now the same sum amounts to rupees 16,510 at R plus 2 percentage per annum in the same time, that is time is same. Okay, what is the value of R? They are asking you to find the value of R. So how you are going to do it? Understand. See, as we said, principal is going to remain the same in case of simple interest. Okay, so what is happening? Principal here is same. Okay, time is same, only the difference is in the rate. The rate is varying by 2%. We do not know the actual rate, we just know that the rate is varying by 2%, and as a result of this variation the amount got increased by some amount. And what's that amount? Just subtract 16,510, just subtract 15,748 from 16,510. So that will give you 252, 762. Yes. So this 2% variation in the rate gave a difference of 762 in the amount. Okay, 762 in the amount, right? So this 762 is basically because of this 2%. ठीक. So how to solve this question directly? How to solve this equation quickly? You need to understand this very carefully, that this 762 is because of that 2%. Principal is same, time is same, only the rate got increased by 2%, and as a result of that the amount got increased by 762. So this 762 is nothing but the 2% of the principal invested for 3 years. So P into 3 into 2%, right? So that's 254,127. So principal comes out to be 12,700. So now you have principal in your hand. you need to find r. So at this point you can use option approach or you can solve completely. See, okay, I'll just rub this part. We have principal now and we have amount for 3 years. See, amount for 3 years is 15,748 and principal is 12,700. You have got multiple ways to solve this question. You can go by option approach, you can solve the equation also. See, what will be the interest? What will be the interest, guys? 3048, yeah, interest will come out to be 3048 for 3 years, right? Now you just need to find out at what rate of percent you will get 3048 interest on this principal 12,700. Okay, so you can directly use the formula of SI one way, that is 3048 upon principal, that's 12,700 into 3, that will give you rate upon 100. You can go by this method or even you can go by the option approach. How you are going to use the option approach? See, you have the principal as 12,700, right? So if it is 10%, so interest for 1 year would be 1270 and interest for 3 years would be 1270 into 3. So you are not going to get 3048 in this case. You are not going to get 3048 in this case. So thus this first option is eliminated. Now next option, what you can do is quickly find out 12,700 into 8% into 3. If you get 3048, this is your answer. Okay, it's very simple. 127 into 24, if you will do, you are getting something 8 at the ones place. So with that you can check it. Yes, it's 8%. So I have just told you the approach that you can follow. So I leave this question for you to solve it and confirm in the comment box, yes ma'am, it is 8% only. So which approach you are using, let me know in the comment box after you watch the section. Okay, now coming to the next question, guys. See, rupees 8,000 becomes rupees 10,000 in 2 years at simple interest. The amount that will become rupees 6,875 in 3 years at the same rate of interest is. See, you have been given one equation where it says 8,000 becomes 10,000. 8,000 is the principal, becomes 10,000, this is the amount. So the difference between the amount and principal, that is 2,000, will be the interest. So 2,000 interest you are earning on the principal of 8,000. Rate we don't know, time is 2 years. So first let's find out the rate. 2,000 upon 8,000 into 2, rate upon 100, right? So 1 by 8, it's how much? In the beginning of the session we studied 1 by 8 is nothing but 12.5%. 1 by 8 is nothing but 12.5% is the rate of interest. But are we required to find rate of interest? No, we need to find principal. We have a second scenario. The amount that will become rupees 6,875 in 3 years at the same rate of interest is. What is this 6,875? This is amount that you'll get after 3 years. So we'll use the direct formula of amount that we derived in the beginning of the session, that is A is equal to P into 1 plus RT. Okay, so we are having amount as 6,875 and principal we are required to find 1 plus R, it's 12.5%. in the fractional form it would be 1 by 8 into 3, that would be 3 by 8. So eventually when you will solve it, 6,875 equals to P into 11 by 8. So just 11 sa 625. So 625 into 8, 8 5s are 40. So that's option B. So I hope the question is pretty clear in your mind. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. I hope this is much enough for you Just revise the concept of SI and CI thoroughly. Practice these questions. We'll practice some more questions tomorrow. We'll start doing the questions directly tomorrow rather than starting with the concept. So we'll be doing some more very important questions of SI and CI tomorrow. So meet you tomorrow at 8 p.m. sharp. Today, due to some technicalities, the session got delayed, but no worries, we'll try to do it on time tomorrow. So make sure that you connect at 8 p.m. sharp tomorrow. Okay, so take care of yourself, guys. Thank you so much. Bye bye.